Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello, and welcome to Fearless Generations, 12 Steps to Freedom. This is Kelly Fox, and we are wrapping up Step 6, which is present moment. And tonight is integration. So we're going to be talking about how we can really use this step in our lives. How can we integrate it into how we live so that we live more in the present moment and not the past or the future? So let's get started. I'm going to bring on my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I am doing great. We had the most beautiful sunny day today. It was just lovely. I got outside and got to pick out weeds in my garden and just enjoy the sunshine.
That sounds lovely. So you lived in the present moment.
Well, I sure did, and it was a sunny one.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. And we have on a wonderful guest coach tonight. She's been on the show a few times, and she is definitely one of my favorite girls. Please welcome Becky Plautz.
Hey, ladies. Thanks for having me on. Super excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So, Beck, please remind the audience, what is it that you get to do and who is it that you get to serve?
It's so fun that I've been on multiple different years because I've evolved so much. So I get to really connect and empower community builders and fempire builders to regain their confidence and move beyond where they've never been yet. I call myself Your Connection Strategist, and it's really about helping you celebrate your strengths and support you in building your presence through my empowerment photography and speaking by putting yourself out there to be seen and doing that with purpose. So a little bit about who I support and what I do, photography, speaking, all the things. And I'm also the CEO of the virtual co-working space, Work on Purpose with Purpose. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I could list so many things.
Yeah. And we are part of the community Work on Purpose with Purpose. And I've been involved with that from almost the beginning, which is exciting to say. One of the original MCs in the community. And so I'm a great fan of Work on Purpose with Purpose, as well as listeners. The pictures that we've been using lately most of them have been taken by Beck. So you can see her talent there as well. So yay, exciting. Excuse me. Exciting stuff. So I know that you are a lover of the present moment. So, Beck, what does that mean to you? What does present moment mean? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I would describe, like, my first thoughts around present moment are mindfulness and, being aware or conscious of the here and now. That's really what comes to mind right away.
Yeah. And, Beck, you're an avid listener of the podcast as well.
Yes.
So as you've been listening to the podcast this month, has there been anything that's kind of stood out to you or anything like that?
Well, I've just been really looking at how I currently stay in the moment and what I've been doing, and just kind of, looking at it deeper as I listen to each episode, because I listen to it every week. And multiple years now. I mean, the first time I was on the show, I think it was, 3, almost 4 years ago now. but each time it just gets deeper and deeper. So I'm really conscious of like how I use my senses and really stay with, you know, where I'm at right now by using my touch a lot of times. And I mean, I love being outside. That's one of the things I do every single day is get outside in the fresh air. And that goes with, you know, taking deep breaths. So, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I know that you do, not currently, but when it's warmer, is you go out and you stand in the grass with your bare feet. And I love that because something that comes to mind and what I was reminded by this month was that being in the present moment, another word for that can be grounded. And that's what I think of when I think of grounded. And so I love that you have that practice as well.
Yeah, not yet. Not in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, so not yet. But I can see my grass now, Kel. I can see it.
Yeah? No more snow?
Oh, no, there's still snow, but I can see my grass.
Yeah.
So it's getting closer.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's coming. That time is coming. Yeah. So, Terry, what do you feel like you have learned over this month of speaking about present moment once again that you will integrate going forward?
Yeah, I've been reading a book called The Choice because we really have a choice whether we live in the past or worry about the future or live in the present moment. And this has been a really impactful book. I've been listening to it. It's about a woman who's a psychiatrist who's like 98 years old, and she still practices psychiatry and still dances. And really, that's what kind of attracted me to reading the book. And she's a Holocaust survivor, and she actually met Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book A Man's Search for Happiness, and he was like one of the mentors that helped her to see the importance of living in the present moment, because that's what choice is all about. You can only make choices in the present moment. And I was finishing up the book today as I was driving. Whenever I drive very far, I'll listen to a book. And so she was very, very driven to do everything. She reminded me of me in some ways, a small way. But when she did anything, she wanted to do it perfectly, and she would just work really hard in her studies and went on to get her doctorate. And she had this, at one point in time, she realized that the only way to really have her not affect her present was when she went back to Auschwitz and she faced her mother's death. And so the chapters I was listening to today were her going through that process of giving up her past. Now, we all have things in our past that we could focus on. We could keep us from moving forward or being in the present. All of us have some kind of experiences in our life that, you know, a grief, a guilt, a regret, something that if we focus on that or we won't let go of that, we won't forgive ourselves for that and forgive others that, you know, may have been the perpetrators of that pain. And, of course, when I think of the ultimate pain and, you know, would have been to be in a concentration camp where you know, constantly you were just surrounded by death and hunger and starvation and all of those depravities. And so she was able to go back. She said she never would, but she did. And she was able to kneel on the spot where her mother had, you know, died in the crematory and actually connect back with her mother, forgive those who caused her all the pain, and get rid of the past and let it go. And it was just so inspiring to listen to her tell her story. And she even went to Hitler's residence, which was now, of course, just in rumbles because the GIs destroyed it when they came into Germany, and forgive him and let it go. And I thought that is the ultimate price to pay to live in the present, to be able to come to deal with the past, forgive yourself and others, and then be able to be free. And she said it was just the most amazing experience to get to that place of freedom where she could make every choice of her reaction, her response, her decision-making in the moment. And that way she could move forward. And so it just really stuck with me because I knew we were talking about present moment. We've been talking about it all month. And it just was another powerful indication to me of what a process this is. You know, we can, on one level, like Beck's saying, on one level we're going to say, oh, I live in the present moment, I make all my choices in the present moment. But when you really dig deep to those scars, those you know, difficulties and challenges that you've had in your life, and you can let those go to where they don't affect your present moment choices at all, then you can be free to be yourself and to move forward with that self-acceptance, that forgiveness for your you know, you allowing that to keep you from being who you are or whatever that is, forgiving yourself, loving yourself, accepting yourself, forgiving others, and then you really are in that place of freedom where you can make those choices in the present moment, not influenced by the past, whatever that past is, whether it's a regret, whether it's a shame, whether it's fear, and just really deal with your feelings, because she said there's really only 4 feelings, and then off of those 4 feelings everything comes. You know, either sad, mad, happy, or fearful. And when she's working with her client, she just starts with those 4 feelings, because people that are stuck in the past, they can't express their feelings. They won't accept their feelings. They won't live with their feelings. And so feelings come into such an important part of being in the present as well. So I don't know. I've been thinking about that all day because I was listening to those last couple chapters of the book when I was driving around today, doing errands and stuff. So that just brought me to another level of understanding. Our choices lie in the present moment. And we have choices, and those choices have to do with our reaction, our response, you know, and how we react to those things that happen in our life that we have control over. And that's all we have control over is how we react, right? How we respond, how we talk to each other, how we think about what's going on in the present moment, and making those choices based on the present, not the past. So being able to let go of the past. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking today about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty powerful to be able to forgive at that level. And we all have something that happens to us. And they definitely don't look the same. But we are all affected to a deep level with some kind of tragedy or trauma or situation that we will then be given the opportunity to leave it behind and step into the present. And she is a great example of being able to have that extreme situation happen to her and to be able to let it go and step into the present moment and live her life, you know, to the fullest.
And it was a process. It was almost a lifetime process. You know, it didn't happen like boom. But as she worked with clients who had to who had trauma, she was able to heal herself as well. And I think that's one of the great advantages of us who are connectors and who work with other people and who have these opportunities to coach and to impact and support one another's lives, that, we can see someone else and then recognize that's something I can heal, and I can be, my process can be deeper and more intense and more intentional and, meaningful. And it's just like the process always can go deeper. And, it was a fascinating book.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Beck, is there something that you do to support yourself or a client to step into the present moment and be mindful or whatever it might be?
Yeah, as Tara, you were talking about, the past, I'm working going, oh my gosh, so I'm a photographer. I've been a photographer for 13 years, and one of the ways that I do support myself is, looking at photos and looking at memories, and I really use it as a tool to support me in remembering and being reminded of the joy in the moments, and then, being able to come to the present moment, because we know how fast time just keeps ticking. Like my kids, I have 3 kids. All of a sudden my daughter's 10 and it's the blink of an eye. But when I see memories in social media pop up of her as a baby or her doing something with her brothers, that I'm just it's so sweet, and I documented that, it brings me back to the joy, and then I can pull that forward to be okay, that was the mom I was intending to be, the calm, collective, more in tune with the present moment person. And it reminds me of the things that we've been through, the strength that I have as a parent, the awarenesses that I've built, and the growth that I've had, as well as my family. So I really do use photos as a reminder in a really empowering way to, push me forward and encourage me to continue to improve in whatever areas of my life, in my friendships, my family, and my personal growth, and the way that I take care of myself, all of those things. So yeah, I would definitely say that photography is a big thing that I use as a tool to support myself and my clients. That's it's one of the things that I do that I love. I'm very passionate about that. I see how that can interweave in there.
Yeah, I believe that's so true. Because when I see pictures and look at photos, it evokes emotion, right? And emotion is so powerful. It's so powerful for us to take that emotion and almost transfer it to the present moment. I think maybe that's what you said, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is I'll see a picture. One of my stepdaughters, her mother passed away, and she's been posting all of these movies. I don't know how she turns it into a YouTube thing, but she's posting all these movies when they were little, because it looks like they probably only did movies when the girls were real tiny, because there aren't any, how you do as a parent. You're much better than that, but it's like my first child's baby book was really, really thick. My last child's baby book had little in it. And just seeing those pictures just makes me smile. And that emotion then carries over to, what I feel today. See those girls, it's like, golly, they were so cute. They were such a happy little family, and those emotions of love and joy then, linger, and you can feel those again. And it's like looking at all these pictures of my grandmother when she was a little girl, and just pulling up photos is such a way to bring joy that then carries over into the present.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that pictures help me to savor the present moment more. I can relive that joy in the present moment, and it inspires me to have more of those moments in the present moment. it inspires me to have more of those moments, to, you know, savor that time that I have with my kids or with my husband or with my friends, because I know that time goes by so quickly. And, you know, I've a picture of Griffin as a baby. He was like 3 days old, came up in my notifications today. Someone liked it, like randomly. And I was just like, I remember the moment where I was laying him on that pillow and the photographer was taking his picture and, you know, putting the outfit on him and that whole day. Like, I can remember those things. And it brings me joy in this moment that I'm looking at that picture. And so we can definitely have our past and our future inspire our present moment. We just want to make sure that we're not living there, right? We're not living in the past. We're not living in the future, but we're living in the present moment. But they can definitely inspire us to do something different, to be more grateful, to take a bigger risk, to, you know, reach out one more time, or for the first time. You know, the past definitely influences our present moment, and so we get to choose how it does.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a learning, right? The past is what we learn from. And one of the things that's fun about me is that I have 14 tattoos. So one of them when I was 19 years old, I had the saying tattooed on my foot: learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. And that's always been true for me. You know, I believe that we learn from our yesterdays, and it's so that we can live in this moment with a greater knowledge and wisdom and awareness because of that. And, holding space for, you know, what's ahead while staying present in the moment. That's always been true for me.
And I think tattoos are kind of, well, some people's tattoos, and that one definitely is that where you're anchoring that moment. And you're anchoring that philosophy. And I do it with my jewelry, or a phrase on a T-shirt, or you know, saying on my wall, because I'm too big of a wimp to do a tattoo. But you know, we can surround our present moment with things that remind us of how we want to show up in that present moment, how we want to, you know, what we want to, who we want to be, and how we want to interact. You know, I have fearless all over my room, you know, and because that's how I want to be. I want to take those risks. I want to expand my comfort zone. And so I constantly remind myself that that's who I want to be and that's how I want to show up. Because for me, out of sight, out of mind. And if you're that type of person as well, that could be something that supports you. I have jewelry that I wear that reminds me of what is important to me. My ring says, trust yourself and shine. And those are the things that I want to remind myself of all the time. And so that's one thing that I do for myself, to keep myself in that space of how I want to be showing up in the present moment. Well, ladies, we are almost out of time. We have about 5 minutes left. And I want to give Beck some time to share where she can be reached. And Beck, if there's anything that you want to share with our listeners about something you have coming up or anything like that, this would be the time for you to do that as well.
Well, awesome. Yeah, you can find out more about me at my website is Becky Plautz. It's BeckyPlautz.com. And something that's coming up, I mean, April's the next month ahead of us, and that's a exciting month in the virtual community. We have our 4th business birthday celebration coming up on the 14th of April. Yeah, 4 years. I can't wait for all those memories to be popping up. And that means that we also have our quarterly open invitation week, which means that you can come and experience any of our action hours where actually Terry and Kelly are host MCs and have action hours to co-work and connect every week. So you have open invitation for coming to the action hours, and we have a networking hour that also happens. So all the things, I will post those in the Fearless Generations Facebook group for an easy access link to all the things as well. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. You listened to the show, so you knew I was going to tell you to do that, and I love that. I love it. I didn't even have to ask you to do it. So, Beck, what would be the one thing you would want the listeners to walk away with tonight knowing about present moment?
I would say, give yourself the space to, really be mindful about what you are focusing on. When you're in your office or you're at the kitchen table, right, and your people are talking to you, really just take a minute to take some breaths and take a look around. Actually see. I think that's a big thing, is that we look at things, but do we really see them? We hear things, but are we really listening to them? And for me, that's really, coming to the present moment and really tapping in to what's in front of us and seeing the things and listening is a big thing that I've learned as a parent, as an entrepreneur, a wife, all the things. So that's what I would say. Just really get present in the moment by seeing and listening.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for being here with us, for staying up late and sharing all of your good stuff with our listeners and with us, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
Yeah. We want to remind you that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. And if you would like to know more about Fearless Living, please go to fearlessliving.org. You can find out what you want to know about Terry and I at fearlessgenerations.org. You can find out about our free workshops, our other workshops, our group program, our book groups, all of that good stuff. Plus, all the past 9 years of the podcast are there that you can go and you can listen to. And we would love for you to go check it out. Also, a new thing for the podcast is we are on Amazon Music, so you can now listen to Fearless Generations there if that is where you choose to be. And so go check that out as well and subscribe. We're also on iTunes and Spotify. So let us know, where are you listening to Fearless Generations? We would love to know. And do check out everything that Beck is going to put into the Facebook group. We are going to be at the birthday bash for Work on Purpose with Purpose. Also, we're both going to be sharing some of our goodness, and so you definitely want to go check that out. And we would love to have you there. So until next week, everybody, be fearless.
Be fearless. Thank you, Becky.